Episode 796. C.G. Young had been hoping Invincible Most Handsome was playing some kind of trick. The last thing he expected was an answer this straightforward. For a moment, his thoughts aligned perfectly with Wolfhead Garlic's, and he immediately grew anxious. Seeing Wolfhead Garlic charging into battle again, he hurried to stop him, but Invincible Most Handsome was quicker to speak and immediately followed up with a question.
Sure, want me to find you a cleric?
C.G. Young sighed, looking up at the sky. The name really didn't lie, but even arrogance had to have its limits.
Bring a cleric?
Garlic Head paused, about to bristle at the slight, but then he reconsidered and smiled.
Bringing a cleric, and it's 2 against 1?
Not bad.
You're pretty clever. Bringing a cleric for a 2-on-1, even if I win, it's hardly worth bragging about. Oh, that request of yours, it sounds reckless, like you're asking for death, but really, you've just made yourself impossible to beat. Oh? No, you're definitely going to lose, but you've made sure your team can't lose. Thinking of the group first, huh?
Wolfhead Garlic said this, and Joy Sheep was taken aback. That was something he hadn't considered. But if that were the case, it would actually be a good way to shut him up. But Wolfhead Garlic had already seen through it. There was no way he'd accept that.
Why do you always misunderstand? I'm being serious.
Invincible Under Heaven was at a loss too.
Don't think you can trick me into going in alone.
Wolfhead Garlic said it with certainty.
Your stats are all in the red. Want to grind some experience back first?
Trying to stall? No need. We're heading back to the city right now.
Wolfhead Garlic said arrogantly. He was inspired by the other guy's idea of having a cleric back him up for a 2-on-1 fight. He figured, with his own lack of experience, all red stats, and a level penalty, if he could still win, the face slapping would be that much more satisfying. With that, Wolfhead Garlic strode toward the nearest main city.
Hey, where does he get this inexplicable confidence from?
Invincible Most Handsome said to the Joy Sheep beside him. C.G. Yang was stunned for a long moment before finally snapping back to reality.
Was that you just now?
Yeah.
No way.
C.G. Yang couldn't believe his eyes.
What?
That line should be something someone says to me, and that should be you, shouldn't it?
C.G. Yang was moved to tears by this. But Wolfhead Swan, who had just strode out, hadn't gone far. He heard every word. At first he really had misunderstood. He thought someone was trash-talking Invincible Most Handsome, and he was secretly amused. But as the conversation went on, it turned out Invincible Most Handsome was trash-talking him. Wolfhead Garlic stopped in his tracks and spun around.
Open your eyes and take a good look at my arena record before you say another word.
Invincible Handsomest responded, but he was speaking to Joy Sheep.
You heard him. That's where my confidence comes from.
What did you say?
C.G. Yang was lost. Everyone was lost. Could it be that the Invincible and Most Handsome got his brains scrambled by the final boss of the Sky Tomb?
Over 50,000 matches, a 75% win rate, you've hit your ceiling. The ones you can't beat, you'll never beat. And the ones you can, give it time and you won't be able to beat them either.
Arena, speed mode. Let's see what you're made of.
Wolfhead Garlic was genuinely pissed. He stormed out in a rage. C.G. Yang stood there dumbfounded, and only after a long moment did she speak.
You're a natural-born knight, man. That aggro hold was solid.
Just stating the facts.
Invincible Most Handsome, however, remained perfectly composed. Wangtu City was the nearest major city to the Aerial Tomb Dungeon's teleportation array. As a level 70 zone, every one of its cities was absolutely packed with players. The heavenly domain was vast, but even it couldn't hold back the tide of players, each main city packed as bustling as a thriving metropolis. If this weren't a game where players didn't actually need living space, it's hard to say whether these main cities could really hold such a massive population. Stepping onto the main city streets, Yeshu was filled with 1,000 emotions. Good thing he was using a Smurf account. If he'd brought Lord Grimm into this bustling main city, who knows what kind of scene that would have been. The major club guilds had sprawling networks of power. No sooner had he entered the main city than he spotted countless characters sporting those guild tags, milling about. If Lord Grimm were to charge in here, would it turn into another street chase? The lack of safe zones in Heavenly Domain was a real hassle. Players stepping away mid-session to use the bathroom had to do it with constant anxiety. But players are endlessly resourceful. Was there truly no safe haven in the Heavenly Domain besides logging off? Of course not. And the irony of where it is, well, it stings. This place is none other than the arena, the spot in the game where PvP happens most often. The arena did have the look of a proper scene, but in truth it wasn't really a game scene, it was more of a game platform. Players inside the arena were absolutely safe, since you couldn't just hack and slash at a name on a list. If you ever need to step away for a bit, parking your character in the arena is a solid choice. But this is where it gets rough for players out in the wild. The arena might be an operating platform, but you still have to go through the motions of entering it from the arena scene in the main city. Having to run all that way just to use the bathroom? Clearly not worth it compared to just logging out. The Joyful Sheep Squad and the Wolf Squad, two full teams from Valiant Dominance, had gathered all 200 of their members in the arena, and it certainly wasn't for the sake of safety. As teams under the same guild, they were supposed to support each other, so PKing for gear drops was pretty much off the table. But sparring in the arena and trading trash talk, that happened all the time. Wolfhead Garlic was now maxed out on aggro against unmatched Most Handsome. He led his guild team into the arena, entered a unified room, and then sent a message to Joy Sheep. As he walked, Wolfhead Garlic mulled over the upcoming match, gradually cooling down and beginning to analyze it seriously. As a player with over 50,000 arena matches under his belt, Garlic Head really didn't need any lessons in PvP. Wudi Zui Junlong's words infuriated him, but upon reflection, they sent a chill down his spine, because they had accurately pinpointed a problem he'd been facing for a long time. A win rate of around 75%. Wolfhead Garlic had reached that mark early on, but as the number of matches grew, his win rate stabilized at roughly 75%, with no further significant improvement. The opponents he couldn't beat, he kept losing to, no matter how many times they fought. And the ones he'd once defeated, after they got their win back against him, their win rate just kept climbing until they became opponents he could barely overcome. If anyone else had called him invincible and most handsome, it would have sounded like mockery. But as Wolfhead Garlic mulled it over, wasn't that jab just a little too on the nose? He didn't even know this guy, so there was no way he could know that much. The more he realized this guy wasn't simple, the more Wolfhead Garlic's earlier surging confidence began to thin.